Hey there, happy Saturday, it's me Victor. Hopefully you had a great past week of trading. Just going to go over some particular stocks and the week trades I took and some insights, alright? Again, as I always say, all these are really for educational purposes only. Don't take anything as advice, alright? A lot of things to go over, a lot of momentum to go over. I'm trying to keep this sweet and short. Again, if you're watching these, I guess you're learning about the stock market. As I always say, the main goal of this is just to help you become a better trader and to help you find who you are and understand that like what works for me may or may not work for you, and that's what makes trading unique. At least from my perspective, I always want to learn from other people, and that's not saying that you always want to be growing, you always want to be learning in anything in life you're trying to do, and with the markets, every day is a day to learn something new, okay? And my goal is for you is just to take away something from this, all right? But first and foremost, again, all this is not advice, it's just educational, all right? But overall, this past week has probably been the best week of my trading year so far. A lot of things have been clicking. I've been pushing size recently, and that's one thing that whenever you have a lot of the momentum, liquidity, you have to sometimes push size, okay? And we'll go over all the trades which I took for the week, and we'll go one by one and pretty much go over my thought process of that and what I'm long and what I'm doing, any positions I have right now. But again, most of the stock charts you can see pretty much are the same patterns, like flags, range breaks, EPs are sometimes, but we haven't really had a big EP yet. But yeah, and you realize that most stocks make moves, the best momentum runners, like on open, there's numerous entries on the way up. So we'll always keep a backlist of stocks that I've ran in the past, because sometimes those stocks that ran in the past sometimes those stocks that ran in the past can run again. That's how former runners can run again, okay? But yes, let's go over some of these plays. I believe, was one past runner. Pretty much same type of play I look for over and over again. Did I buy this? Let me see here. I'm looking at this real time, my positions. 530 I bought it. Let's see, 530 and I sold when? 590. Yeah. Well, I sold, I guess, somewhat good. This is pretty much the exact same type of thing I do over and over again. Always look at the long-term chart. The best stocks that can run are the stocks that really have been neglected. And again, former runner, as I mentioned, look at this. It moved in the past with volume, even right there. But always look left. And this was one of those plays. And again, look at the volume. The volume is massive, okay? And I'm not sure what the news was on this. Again, always pay attention to just really momentum and volume. I'm not saying news does that matter. It does matter. But news really matters for like an EP, I would say. But I think this was just pure momentum, because what's been happening with open, a lot of these short theme plays, short traps have been working lately. And this was a prime example. Pretty much I was on it, when was it here? Pretty much the second day here, it pulled back, and that was my thesis going in. We had pretty much a big run here, and the fact that we had quite a bit of the spike, right there, but it came back and it kind of consolidated in this range right here. That's what I was eyeing, and I got long pre-market, which I rarely do. I rarely buy pre-market, but sometimes if it breaks the ranges in any time frame of the day, it works better in the open, of course, or afternoon. But sometimes if you're set up there, you have to take it, okay? And yes, I took it, and it worked out really well. I didn't hold all the way to 684. I got long. Where did I get long at? Let me see. Did I buy pre-market? 530. It says I got long. So I'm looking at my other screen here. Average price. Let it get stopped out. Wait, actually, hold up here. I got long 530. Yeah, so I guess I got stopped out on this one, did I? I don't even remember. I need to start tracking these. I actually lost money on this one, so this is a good lesson here. So in hindsight, I got long out of the open at 530. I somewhat chased this up here, and I got stopped out as it broke low of day, and look what it did, went to high of 684. And that's one of the things I'm working on right now, is just allowing things to, and run and all that. And it takes time to get to that level. I'm not saying I'm there, but it takes time. The setup was there. And one thing I hate the most is I hate missing a setup. I don't care. If it's a picture perfect setup, I hate it. I'm fine getting in a setup and it stops me out. That's the art of trading. You're not going to win on every trade. I understand that. I just hate missing plays like this because this is a 5-star setup. And of course, I've been saying lately, most of them have been failing. So it was okay in a way. I lost small. But on INHD, this was a 5-star type of example I'm trying to show you. This chart pattern's 5-star. But usually I'm aiming to swing these. When I get long out of these range breaks, I'm looking to go long. Even right there was a range break intraday. I'm looking to swing, but now I'm just taking in profits because most of the time, it depends, not all the time, but most of the time they give back their gains. Like you've seen, this came from $15 to $4 in a matter of a week. And it's just, I'm learning to just lock in some gains along the way and raise my stop as the stock goes higher. But this was another great example. I traded this one. I got long, very small size, nothing crazy. But let me see if I can find it. So yes. Well, yeah, I kind of chased it up at 1177. I was chasing it up. Sometimes you have to chase setups. I missed initial buy, but I sold in the high 15s. Very good sell on that one. But this is pretty much my bread and butter setup right here. Another one was Duo. Duo was another one I mentioned that I was long. 5-star, I would say. Pretty much the same type of deal. Long-term chart. Look at it. It's neglected. And look at the volume. Look at the volume. It's a bottom feeder stock. So that was a great trade on that one. Let's see. Yeah, 439. That one was a swing trade. So that one was a good one. Same type of setup on that one. Another one that was kind of, sometimes all it takes is really 1 year to make one trade to make your year. And this is really it on orbs. And again, the treasury market has been a theme lately. Whenever these companies invest in that type of scenario, or this is AI revolution or treasury strategy, that's been a theme lately, right? And pretty much I was on it. And that's one thing, you want to focus on themes, follow the money, okay? And this was one of those trades. I missed the initial run right here, even right there, but I waited till it pulled back towards the moving averages, and that's when I got long. That was a great trade. Even on the hourly, it's a 5-star setup out of the 45 channel break, and that's where I got long, and I sold very well. I didn't hold all the way to the 80s, but I sold pretty much in the low, I think 70s, I think it was. Again, not huge size, but 44 was my average. And I was selling in bits and pieces along the way, but my final sell, well, the best sell was at $79, but my final sell was in the low 60s because I was trailing it. But that was a great trade on that one. And again, you want to use this volatility. Don't hold these stocks thinking they're going to do what they say. No, just use the momentum. That's all you have to do, okay? And pretty much the same type of deal. The next day on CWD, the exact same deal. This one I push size. This was my biggest trade of the year so far, and in hindsight, I should have bought more, but I did it because, again, I rarely trade pre-market. But they had the exact same type of news with the Treasury. I'm trying to find what this the exact same type of news, which was, again, Treasury, Crypto Advisory Board. Again, themes. Focus on themes. Trading higher. Again, you don't want to trust these companies, but it's just you want to focus on where the money is flowing. And I saw this pre-market. I saw how thin the volume was. The volume was massive. I saw how thin the float was. And again, we talked about float rotation. And everyone was saying, is this the next Orbs, And that's what led me to conclude, okay, I have to get in pre-market, otherwise I'm gonna miss something special here. So when I saw it, I didn't chase it, and I didn't chase it up whenever it. Here's one thing for you: don't chase the stock up, okay? I didn't chase it all on this move. I waited for the pullback, for the first red candle, on 10 minutes, or really whenever. But that's when I got long over pretty much this range break of $28. And I think I'm trying to find my actual. There's a lot of trades for this week. It's been a bit busy week. I got 900 shares at $26. That was my freaking buy. And I had an order in to buy another like 5,000 more. But it didn't go through. But 900, it's whatever. But I sold pretty well because when I saw this fading, this is what you call this a gap short. We really haven't seen one of these patterns in a while. But whenever it comes off the highs that extreme, it's very rare it's going to retest those highs. So I sold beautifully in this area here. But that was pretty much an example of locking in gains along the way, So that was a 5-star trade on that one. Another one that I did get long was Wolf. This still is holding up really well. Again, we talked about EPs. This is an EP. And we talk about ranges. Look how, you have the EP day there. And look how well it's holding on the daily chart. When you wait for that range break, that clear of day range break, you get on the hourly there. And with these, you really trail 10 day. And I still should be in this, but I'm not. I did get long at 950, but I sold, I believe, 2 days later. But it's just one of those things. I needed to buy. I don't have enough buying power, and I don't like putting my money when them stocks not moving. At least not right now, because with a small account, you should really focus on growing it rapidly, I would say. But this is a 5-star setup. It's still setting up. This is what you look for in growth and momentum, and really, again, look at the long-term chart. This is a leader. Look at the volume. So I wouldn't be surprised to see this go higher. So it's for sure on watch. But this was a nice small win. NBIS. Let me talk about NBIS. This one I got stopped out. This was a gap up EP with volume. And again, we talked about delayed reactions, and that's what I was going for here. They had earnings reported after the break, and after the day it faded, and I pretty much got long as it broke out over the pivot point right there. And of course, you can see I got stopped out, low of day, and it happens. Pretty much going over the same type of move with iron. That was pretty much my thesis of it. I wanted NBIS to do the same. I wanted this to have a delayed, I call it a delayed reaction. You have the first initial gap up, then you have ideally the best ones go sideways, then they go, and that's what I was aiming for. But iron is a perfect example of a delayed reaction. You have the gap up. It's not an EP though; it's a gap up because again, the EP that's neglected. This is not really neglected. This has gone from $9 to the high 28. It's just continuation. But a gap up, and you have this pretty much basing, and you want to wait for that clearest day range break, and that's what we got. And I did get long this one, I believe. from $30. $30, yes. And yeah, this one's going good so far. Trail 10 day. That's all you have to do. Trail 10 day. This is what a momentum leader should look like. Something that's not. Again, you want to focus on stocks that are linear, that have strength. I mean, look how good this is. Look how the moving averages are surfing the 10 day. Don't try to do something random in a sense. That was that one. But as I was saying, this is pretty much what you want to look for. Stocks that have a reason to go up, fuel. And again, it takes time to get the noise out of it. But I always say, stay away from the noise. Okay, most people don't know what they're doing. And again, I'm not saying I'm a master. It's just I realized that, yes, if you're new, you want to learn from those who are credible. I get it. But also, there's so much noise, and you want to tune it out, okay? Because there's so much moving variables every day in the markets, and I don't have enough time to. I mean, I used to be in chat rooms. I'm not anymore. That doesn't mean I don't learn from people. I do. When the markets close, I get ideas on Twitter from other great traders. But you really shouldn't focus on that. You should focus on yourself, and who you are as a trader, and developing the best about you. And I learned that the best thing about trading is just it's ever learning. You're evolving to something greater, and you don't need no one else to do that. All you need is yourself. All you need to do is put in the work, study charts, look at data, find your edge, find your setups. And this is pretty much my bread and butter. Okay, these types of moves like this. Okay, but iron was a good one. Open I'll talk about last. I'm currently short that one. I haven't shorted in a year. I haven't shorted in 2 years, but I am short open, and I'll go over the reason why. One stock that really Friday, one more. Kids was another one. Again, these low. We're talking about. Sorry, Kids was another one. Pretty much a day trade. Again, I don't really day trade a lot. I try to stay away from it. But I saw the setup intraday, and I had to take it. Again, these short plays have been working flawlessly. But pretty much I got this. Let's just go on the hourly. It's so much better on the hourly. Everything it's less noise. Pretty much, when was this? Tuesday. Yeah, Tuesday it ran over some news. Not sure what it was. And I saw this. Well, intraday is probably better for you, still learning. And I saw this, and it was basing really well, and I got long. I think over the range break, I went pretty big. I bought 10,000 shares. I bought 10,000 shares at 205. So as I was breaking out of this, late day, and I sold really well in the high 270s, 280s. I wasn't gonna swing this because I knew this is a shit company. So it was a great day trade, but I don't really like doing it. But that's that one. On Friday was kind of an over trading in my opinion. WLDS, this is a 5-star setup. I don't care what anyone says. This is holding up really well. And this is what I'm talking about. Sometimes you're going to get stopped out in a trade, and that's fine. If you get stopped out, that does not mean you can't rebuy it later. Yes, you can. Okay, because the market doesn't give a shit. Just rebuy it. If your setup's there, rebuy it. And this was that type of deal, and I lost quite a bit of money. Gave back some of my profits on the week. Kind of over trading, kind of revenge trading on this one, but it's fine. You're gonna learn, and I'm still watching it for next week. The game plan on this, I pretty much tried three times on Friday. Again, a sideways pattern. I tried buying at opening ranges, pretty much out of the open, 950. And I was stubborn. Yes, it went to 11, but I wanted this for a bigger move. And every time it goes, you can see it here. Every time it goes, it pulls back. Every time it goes, it pulls back. It went, pulls back. and I think one of these days it's gonna rip. So that's why I'm watching it for next week. Over really 1050. But it's fine. I don't regret it. It's trading. Sometimes it doesn't work. But yeah, that's the one I'm watching for that one. And Wolf is another one. Short interest. This one I am long. I took a swing trade on it from about 220. Right as it broke over this range. It's right here on the hourly chart. Again, look left to see the right. This has been a neglected stock. Look at the volume. So I think this can run. So we'll see. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. Ideally, 10 day. And open, I am short. As I mentioned, I got long out of the open on Thursday over this pretty much exhaustion candle, I want to call it. Look at the volume, almost 1 billion. And pretty much, I expected a gap up, but it actually kind of gapped down. And to me, in my mindset, that's like a trend change. I could be wrong, who knows? But I am short. Roughly, I got short at 980, but I added more into this bounce here. So 950 average, I am short. Ideally, what I'm looking for here is an overextended gap down play. Ideally, pretty much the exact type of thing we see on this day here. You want to have a gap down. That's what I'm going for. And if we don't gap up, if we base, then likely I'll cover, because that can lead to another leg higher. But that's that on that one, okay? That's pretty much it for the week. Ended up the week pretty well. Just gave back some of my gains for the week. Monday was a good day, Tuesday was a good day. Yeah, just freaking Friday. I gave back roughly 10% of my earnings on one trade, and that's not good. But it's okay, it happens. But pretty much that's all I'm really looking at right now. Wolf, I'm long. Let's see here. Pretty much the same type of deals, even Camp. It's my bread and butter. Same type of setup, liquidity trap. Look how it's basing. Over 340. It's a biotech company. Other than that, that's really all I'm looking at right now. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Again, always focus on you. Always focus on your setups. And again, you don't have to trade every day, okay? Just let the trades come to you, okay? Other than that, I'll see you next time.